We are on the cusp of a major social change. Do you feel it? Even if you don't, make no mistake, change is coming, and it is going to be unforgettable. I'm your host, Dr. Sarah Hart, and here on Prime Spark, where we work with and on behalf of women over 55, I want to help you find that spark that will ignite your way forward, reflect your gifts to the world, and illuminate your path through this next stage of life. Through these podcast conversations, I hope to inspire you to see how you can make a significant contribution to some of the gnarly problems that are facing us right now. Join me, and together let's discover our Prime Spark. Hi, and welcome to Prime Spark. I'm Sarah Hart, and I'm so happy you're here with us. Prime Spark is designed for women over 50, or close, with a goal to help us all live our happiest, most fulfilling and productive lives now and in the future. The mission of Prime Spark is to change the way our society sees and treats older women. That's a big mission, which only means we all need to be involved and we need to get going now. And today I have the pleasure of talking with Terri Chrisman, a woman whose work I greatly admire. Terri Chrisman is a board-certified nutritionist with the American College of Lifestyle Medicine, renowned speaker, podcaster, and author of the book Fabulous Health, A Simple Plan to Get Well and Stay Well. She is the founder of the Fabulous Health Show podcast and fabuloushealth.net. Terri dedicates herself to making optimal well-being accessible and achievable for all people. Welcome, Terri. I'm so glad you're here today.
Thank you so much for having me, Sarah, and welcome everybody that's listening.
So just in getting started, Terri, let me ask you, do you experience getting older? And if you do, what is that experience? And if you don't, why is it that you think that you don't?
That's an awesome question. And I'm going to bring it to my mother first before I talk about me. She turned 75 or something 10 years ago, and I was younger and stupider. And I said to her, "Oh, now that you're 75, do you feel old?" And she was incensed. And she just said, "No." And then as I became an older woman, I know exactly how she's feeling. Inside, I I still feel like a young woman. And the only thing that changes for me is that I'm wiser, which is awesome, not as stupid. I don't say things without thinking about them so often as I used to. But my physicality is a little more challenging than it used to be. So I'm very physical. I've always exercised. I just this morning just went skiing for 2 hours. And I noticed that in order to stay in what I would consider to be peak physical condition, it requires a lot more effort. That's a natural part of growing older, but I think if you don't stop working out, it becomes easier. So I know that some people are, I don't have time to work out or I don't have time to stretch or whatever, and then, oh, my joints hurt. Well, you know what I mean? Like, can I say no shit, Sherlock? Like, the reason your joints hurt is because you're not working out and you're not stretching. So the physicality, I noticed that I'm lifting lighter weights and they're equally as hard as when I was lifting heavier weights. And I have to get over that psychologically because it's not the number on the weight that matters. It's the effort that your body puts in to do the work. And if it's hard, it means I'm doing the work, even if the weight weighs half as what it did 20 years ago.
That is so good, Terri. I tell you, I'll bet you 95 to 98% of the women I talk to and ask that question, they say something exactly like that. Well, I still feel about 30, 40, whatever, but my body doesn't.
Yeah.
you know.
And we have to look after our bodies, and we don't start looking after our bodies when we hit 50. We have to start looking after our bodies when we're teenagers. And I used to teach teenagers health and fitness in a university, not a university because they were teenagers, in a high school. And I used to say to the girls, your bone density is at its peak at 18. Now you're 16 now, so start lifting weights now so that you can increase your bone density and you can increase your muscle mass so that you can maintain that body. It's an amazing machine. And then you'll be on the best possible platform to live a long, healthy life. And we all know that, things happen. We get ill or we have an injury or something, but you will bounce better. You will bounce back a lot better if you are physically well to start with.
I was just reading something. This is not original at all, and I can't remember where I read it. That if you want to know how you've lived your life so far, look at your body.
Mm.
Um, and well, that's interesting, Terry. If so, you tell them, you're 16, start doing it. What if somebody is 50 and they haven't been doing very much? Can they start?
Absolutely. It's never too late. And I look at things on social media and I follow people who are physical fitness trainers, and there was this one guy and he had his parents and they were approaching 80, or maybe the dad was 82 and the lady was at 78 or something like that, and they were finding it really difficult to get around, and they hadn't exercised for 30 or 40 years, and he started them on a slow program, just getting their mobility, starting to lifting weights, and after 12 months they were completely new people. And this is not isolated. All you have to do is start where you are. And if you're a woman who is over 50 and has not exercised, we'll just for your whole life, you've been sedentary, don't sign up to a gym and start using all the machines and hurt yourself. That's going to be counterproductive. Seek professional assistance with somebody who's worked with older people and start slow, go low, and as you get better, you will know what you can do that challenges yourself without getting yourself injured. Because one of the major problems of exercising in older age is injury because you're doing too much. So for me, I just had to get rid of the ego because I used to injure myself all the time because I think I can do way too much. And after having a knee reconstruction, I was like, okay, get rid of the ego. You may think it's less than what you think you can do, but you're not hurting yourself. So just be happy that you're in the gym or be happy that you hiked up that mountain or that you only skied for 2 hours, not four, or whatever it is. Be happy that you're doing the work and your body will react positively to any amount of physical stress, whether that's walking from the couch to the kitchen or the kitchen to the mailbox or the car to the post office, whatever it is, just start doing it and start doing more. And if you're worried, don't go out there and, go crazy first day.
Yeah, that's such good advice because we all, I mean, the gym where I go, we all have a joke about um, this is not just older people, but that it is so crowded in January.
Mm,
I said, just wait until February and it'll get back to normal again. And it does. And so, for the people who, okay, I'm going to start taking care of myself. I'm going to start watching, I'm going to start exercising. They're get the gym membership and they go and they do a bunch of stuff and they hurt themselves.
yeah, absolutely. And I highly recommend classes. Classes that are specifically formulated for older adults are great because when you go to a facility, the people that are teaching the classes, they have to have qualifications. And those qualifications are to not hurt you, right? So I did a undergrad degree in sport and exercise science, and I used to teach older adults at a facility in Australia. And my main focus was I don't want to hurt anybody. I want to make sure that every single person in my class is doing safe, effective exercise. So there may be modifications. While half the class is doing one exercise, I may be over with one or two other people and assisting them with something else. So I think classes are a great idea.
How did you first get interested in all this, Terry? It sounds like you've been interested in this for a long time.
I've been interested in fitness since I was a child. I started what I used to call Olympic swimming when I was 8, meaning that my mum used to schlep me down to the Olympic swimming pool 3 or 4 times a week to do laps, like for an hour at 8. And so we were really into fitness as kids. On my dad's side of the family, his family were all obese. And I'm talking, in the 70s, my aunties and their adult children. My dad was the baby and probably a mistake. So I was really young while my cousins were adults. And they couldn't buy clothes. In Australia in the 70s, you could not buy clothes for obese people. So they used to wear muumuus and they were always on Weight Watchers or counting calories or making diabetic jelly or what I don't even know because I was a kid, but I did notice that they struggled. And my dad struggled with his weight, and he unfortunately had a fatal heart attack when he was only 51. And at that point, I was like, hang on a minute. He was looking after himself. He was trying to eat more fruit and he was playing golf and all the things, yet he still suffered the fatal heart attack and died. And so I'm thinking, well, I need to really look after myself because even though he was trying, there is a genetic component, some amount of genetic component to uh, heart attacks and strokes and things. There's a huge lifestyle component too. What you do with your lifestyle will determine whether or not those genes are expressed. So pretty much all my life I've been interested in fitness, but as I got older, I got more and more interested in nutrition because you cannot outwork out a bad diet. So you can't go to the gym 5 days a week and eat garbage at home and expect to be healthy. You've got to do all the things. And there's more things to a healthy lifestyle than just eating and exercising. But there are I just it's just been my whole life. And I have had different careers in my life. I was a radio announcer when I was young. I was a hairdresser. I mean, I did lots of different things, but throughout my life personally, I was always focusing on exercise and eating well. And then I didn't go to university till I was 40. So I was doing my sport and exercise science undergrad with 18-year-old kids. And I was trying to keep up with them. We had to do all this fitness stuff. And I was 40 and I was doing all this stuff. And I didn't really think about it at the time. I just thought it was normal. This is what we were going to do and I will do it. But now that I'm older, I'm like, wow, that was pretty impressive.
So, do you work more with men or women or mixed?
Women.
Women?
Yeah. Yeah. Women. I think I don't want to be generalist, but I think men just kind of go with the flow a bit. And women are, because of society and the way women are perceived, there's this expectation that we have to look a certain way or be a certain way. And so when women start putting on weight after menopause, they're concerned because maybe they didn't have to worry about their weight before, and all of a sudden their estrogen hormones are in the toilet and they're just putting on tons of weight and they don't know why and they haven't changed their diet. So uh, I do I don't work a lot with individuals anymore. I mean, I will if somebody calls me and says, "Hey, will you work with me?" Absolutely, I will do that. But I found that limiting because I'm one person and I want to help millions of people. Hence writing a book, hence standing on stage, hence doing podcasts. Like I want to help as many people as possible. But if you look in my mailing lists and in my Facebook group, it's 95% women.
So, what are some of the main questions that women over 50 come to you with?
why is my body not listening to me? Why is it behaving in a strange way when it never did before? Why are things that I used to do not working now? And I have the same questions in my own brain. And I've been trying to wrestle with those since I went through menopause. I went through menopause early at 42. So I'm 58 now. So do the math, like 16 years or something. And yeah, the body just has the mind of its own. And you can manipulate your body composition so that you are less at risk of lifestyle based diseases. And so I'll just explain that for people who don't really know what I'm talking about. So you go through menopause and you start putting on weight and you think, oh, I need to buy new pants. But that's not the problem. The problem is when you start putting on weight, then you're at greater risk of heart disease, you're at greater risk of stroke, you're at greater risk of cancer, you're at greater risk of diabetes, your blood pressure goes up, your cholesterol goes up. So all the bad things are associated with added weight increase, obesity. And even if you don't get to obesity, even if you're just overweight, you may find that you go to your yearly health check and the doctor goes, these things, they're not so green anymore. They're a little bit yellow or maybe red. And oh, we should look at that. And some doctors don't even go into that conversation. They just go, oh, yeah, your numbers are a little bit high. We'll talk to you next year. Well, you don't want that. You don't want somebody to say
It's
things aren't
because it's
perfect.
because you're getting older,
Yeah, exactly. Things
period.
aren't perfect. We'll just leave it for 12 months. No, things aren't perfect. The next question is it's more like a statement. Let's work out how we can get those numbers down. Let's look at your lifestyle. Let's talk about what changes maybe you could make so that your numbers stay in the normal range. You may lose some weight, your blood pressure may come down, your cholesterol may come down. And if that happens, that's all good news. And for a lot of people, they just keep going down the path of getting, a little bit fatter, a little bit higher blood pressure. And it doesn't, because things like this are not urgent. It's a pain in the butt if you have to buy bigger pants or you don't fit into your jacket anymore or whatever. And yeah, your blood pressure it's called the silent killer for a reason because there's no symptoms. There are no symptoms really of high cholesterol, and there's really no symptoms of high blood pressure until my dad dies of a heart attack. You know what I'm saying? So you want to pay attention to the numbers so that you're not surprised when you have a mini stroke, or you're not surprised when all of a sudden you've got diabetes, or you're not surprised when all of a sudden you have angina, or you need a bypass or something like that. Did I answer your question, or did I just rabbit on?
So women come and say, I don't understand what's going on with my body. I am not eating any differently than I ever did, and I'm gaining weight, yada, yada, yada. Is most of the time with the women you see that due to menopause? Is that what's
Yeah.
happening?
Yep. Yes, unfortunately. I am not a doctor, so I don't ever say to people, look at HRT. But there are books out there written by doctors that you could read that, maybe that is an option for people because the loss of hormones plays havoc on people's bodies. I tried HRT a couple of years ago, but I was so far past menopause, it did absolutely nothing for me. There is a limit. You need to try, and in case people don't know what that is, it's hormone replacement therapy, which basically gives you some extra estrogen and some extra progesterone so that your body thinks that it's still in a baby making kind of phase in your life, even though you're not. And it maintains muscle mass, it maintains bone density, and it helps with vasomotor symptoms like hot flashes and mood swings and things like that. But you have to get to it quickly after going through menopause. And some doctors even suggest before, like during perimenopause. But um, menopause is, can I swear? Menopause is a bitch, right? It's and some people fly through it and some people have dreadful, dreadful time. So there's a beautiful book that I would highly recommend to people, written by a doctor that I respect, Dr. Nitu Bajekal. And I'll tell you, I'll write it down for you, Sarah, so you can put it in your show notes. She's an English doctor, a gynecologist, obstetrician, and she deals with both menopause and also the complaints from people who are still menstruating. So she helps people with things like PCOS and endometriosis and problems like that, any kind of sexual health problems. And she's written an awesome book called Finding Me in Menopause. And she goes through the things that you can do in your control without medication and even without a doctor that will help you be a healthier person after menopause. And those things are the things that I talk about in my book as well. And these are things like you need to get more protein in your diet, but you don't want that protein from animals because animal protein is fraught with all sorts of nasty things, not the least of are things like stress hormones, toxic chemicals from all the stuff that they ingest throughout their life, veterinary medicines, all sorts of nasty things in animal protein. You switch your protein to plant-based protein. It's a clean protein and it's going to help with the vasomotor symptoms of menopause. Getting more exercise, getting better sleep, doing things that reduce your stress, actively thinking about how can I make my life healthier and happier, and finding some guidance, whether it be from my book, Fabulous Health, or from Dr. Nitu Bajekal's book, Finding Me in Menopause, or seeing a practitioner, actually logging down and having a system that you work through. Okay, I need to get 8 hours sleep a night. How am I going to do that? So you can't just wish for it. Oh, I wish I could get 8 hours sleep. It's not going to work. The same with exercise. Oh, I'm going to exercise 3 times a week. Well, how are you going to do that? Do you have time to do that? Are you working? Are you not working? Do you have the ability to go to the gym or do you want to do it at home? I do all my exercise at home. I'm lucky. I've set up a home gym, but you don't even need a gym. You can pay $200 a year for a streaming service I use, and it's like Netflix but for exercise. And there's like 150 different trainers on there and like 500 different programs, and you just pick the one you want. You press play and you just do it. So when people are suffering because of menopause, you can't wish it away. You need to take steps, and they have to be specific steps looking at diet, exercise, stress, sleep, and those things will hopefully, there's no guarantees in health, right? Those things, when you do them consistently forever, should improve your health.
Just say one more time, just the name of the book by the woman that you're saying.
So the doctor's called Dr. Nitu Bajekal, and that is phonetic, Nitubajekal, Nitu Bajekal. And the book is called Finding Me in Menopause.
Finding what in menopause?
Me, M-E.
Finding Me in menopause.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
And of
Okay.
course, my book too. You can buy my book, Fabulous Health by Terri Chrisman, and I've got some information there about menopause too. But she's got the whole book, and I think I've got like 3 pages. So anything that you can do yourself is better than relying on the health system. Sarah, you and I were talking before we came on, and you said you had to wait for an appointment for ages to get to see the doctor. You do not want to wait to see a doctor when you can do things yourself, so that when you finally get the appointment for the doctor 2 or 3 or 4 months later, you can say, listen, I was here in my health and I have started XYZ, whatever that is, and I am here now. Let's work on that. Because the doctor's not your savior. The doctor, their job is to advise and work with you so that you can improve your health yourself. Nobody's coming in a chariot to save you. Of course, it's different if you have broken an arm and you need somebody to fix it, or you need surgery, or you have a disease that requires medication. That's completely different. But if you're just talking about general health and well-being and not feeling 100% and wanting to improve, that's your job.
Right. So let's pretend that a woman comes to you and she is through menopause. So it's not a menopause issue. I
Mm.
mean, it may be for a long time, but and she says something like, I have realized I'm not taking good enough care of myself and I want to start. What? And she can't do everything all at once. So
Mm.
what are the first one or two things you would tell her to start doing?
I think look, this is a really involved question because life is not one or two things. So I would first take a history of her life. How much sleep is she getting? How much stress is she getting? What's she eating? What's she exercising? And then we'd work out which is the thing that can move the needle the best. So if she says, look, I'm 65, I'm still working the night shift, maybe she's a nurse working the night shift and I don't eat and I don't sleep and that's a bag of monkeys, right? There's not a lot. You can't fix that overnight. But if she says, listen, I've just put on weight and I don't feel well, I really want to address my nutrition first. So we'd work out what she wants to address first. And then we'd go, okay, well, what are you doing now? What can you do that's 1% better than that? And even if it is sleep, same deal. How much are you sleeping now? How can we improve that 1%? And then it's a systematic approach. So for example, if we're talking about nutrition and she's a night worker and she's living on the vending machines and that's what she's eating and that's because she's working at nighttime and she knows that she's not healthy, then we'll talk about, well, how can we start finding time in your life that you can make some food at home and bring it to work so that you're not relying on the vending machine. But it's an individual process with every single person. But the most important thing is start where they are. So I recommend to everybody that they eat more plants. And some people, their hands go up in the air. Ooh, I can't do that. It's too hard, blah, blah, blah. Well, what plants do you like now? Do you like bananas? Okay, buy a bunch of bananas every week, right? Do you like potatoes? Start putting potatoes in your dinner every night. What is it that you like that's a plant? Just eat more of those. And that's really easy for people. I'm not saying to them, you have to go from a keto carnivore diet to a whole food plant-based diet overnight. What I say to people is, what are you already doing now? That's good. We'll start doing more of that. And then what are you doing that's detrimental to your health? So there's like the harm and heal thing. If you're doing things that are harmful, let's do a little less of those. And if you're doing things that are helpful, let's just do a more of those.
I have your book, Terri, and it is a wonderful book.
Thank you.
And I haven't had time to read the whole thing, but I've gone to parts that I was really interested in. And one of the things I got fascinated by, and I've seen this before, but it always fascinates me, because you're just now talking about fruits. The dirty dozen. Now, one of the things we hear is eat berries, and here's on the dirty dozen: strawberries, cherries, blueberries.
Yes.
And those are things we're told to eat.
Yes. So I'll explain to your listeners what the Dirty Dozen is. It's a list put out by a non-profit organisation called the Environmental Working Group every year. It's ewg.org. And every year they have scientists who test the amount of pesticides on produce, fresh fruits and vegetables. And then they put out a list, and there's two lists. There's one called the Clean 15, and these are the fruits and vegetables that you can buy conventionally in your supermarket that have the least amount of pesticides on them. And then there's the Dirty Dozen, which is the fruits and vegetables on that list have the most amount of pesticides on them. So you've got two choices. You can buy the organic versions, which cost more money, or you can buy the non-organic versions, but you really must soak them in a specialized vegetable wash that removes pesticides before you eat them. So I'm I'm lucky that I can afford to buy organic berries, and it doesn't, that information doesn't bother me because I'm always going to buy organic berries. But I know that some people don't have that kind of disposable income to buy organic berries. So if you berries are really good for you, they're very good for your mind. They help reduce the likelihood of dementia. They're very healthy. They've got lots of antioxidants in them. They're full of vitamins and minerals. They're just like the most awesome food on the planet. And we should all be eating as many berries as we can possibly throw in our guts. But if you can't afford them, that's a problem. So there's ways around that. You can buy frozen ones. Frozen ones are notoriously cheaper than the fresh ones. And you can buy organic frozen berries cheaper than you can buy fresh non-organic berries. So frozen's always great. The other thing is, as I say, buy a vegetable wash, fruit and vegetable wash that is going to remove those pesticides, and make sure you soak your berries before you eat them. Or you can grow your own, but obviously some people can't grow their own. Lots of people can't grow their own. I'm growing blueberries at home, and when it's blueberry season, I get about 3 a day. Not 3 packets, 3
Oh,
blueberries.
I love blueberries, and so I
But it's
saw
not
that
enough,
wrong.
right?
No, so the thing to worry about is this is simplification, but the pesticide on the outside. You don't have to worry about what's inside,
Yeah, so bananas, I don't spend the money on organic bananas.
right?
I don't even know if they're on the list, but why would you? Because you can peel the skin off and you're going to eat the
Right.
inside. The pesticides don't usually go through hard skins. So your things like oranges, citruses, avocados, bananas, anything with a hard skin that you're going to peel, just buy the regular one. I mean, if you uh, can't afford organic apples, just peel them. Now, look, there's nutrients in the skin. We all know that, but you're splitting hairs. You're better off if you're very limited in budget and you can only afford a regular Joe Blow apple. It's covered in wax and garbage anyway, right? Who wants to eat that? So just peel it and eat the apple inside.
Right.
So there are ways around it.
Right. Okay, Terry, we're coming to the end of our time. So tell me, what is the most important thing to you in your life right now?
The most important thing for me in my life right now is maintaining my health. Last week, my husband and I were skiing, and he had an accident and has shattered his humerus, which is the upper bone in his right arm. He's right-handed. So he's in surgery next week. And 2 ski seasons ago, I pulled my ACL, anterior cruciate ligament, in my knee and required surgery. And I realized that we are breakable beings, and that when we break, it hurts and it takes a long time to heal. And so for me, it's all about being safe. And I do like a bit of adventure. So I mentioned at the beginning, I was skiing this morning. I'm not going down ungroomed black runs. And if you know skiing, you know that that's like dangerous stuff. I'm sticking to the things I know. I'm challenging myself, but to the limit that I know. So I'm leaving my ego behind. I think my body, the beautiful thing that I am encased in, is very fragile. And my aim for the next 40 or so years is to protect it from breaking.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, this is so good, Terry. Thank you so much. Now, I know that there are people who are going to get and want to get in touch with you. So how can they do that?
Well, thank you so much, Sarah. My book is called Fabulous Health, and you can find me at fabuloushealth.net. And all the information is there. If you'd like to book me as a speaker, I'm at terrichrisman.com. But even if you could just go to fabuloushealth.net, there's going to be a link to that as well. So it's easy to put everything in one place. I have some free things on my website if people want to sign up to my mailing list. I will tell you that I am really slack at sending out emails. So you certainly will not be spammed. But I will send you some good information, some videos, and some free things that will help you on your health journey.
And her book is Fabulous Health, and it is a fabulous book. I can attest to that. So that's our time for today. Please join us again. You can find our Prime Spark podcast on every popular outlet. Find out more about Prime Spark at primesparkwomen.com. Thank you so much to my guest today, Terri Chrisman. And don't forget, you can find her at fabuloushealth.net.
Thanks very much, Sarah.
Oh, thank you, Terri. And thank you all for being with us. Take care, spread tolerance and love. Bye-bye. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode and would like to stay updated, you can head over to my website, primesparkwomen.com, and get my free Spark Guide, 7 questions to ignite your spark, to help you discover your own spark. See you in the next episode.